Welcome to Uncle Sam's Student Interviews. Listen to real stories from real people. These interviews are brought to you directly from our English students enrolled at Uncle Sam's International. Hear about their biggest struggles, greatest successes, and career advancements through studying American English. Have you ever felt embarrassed at work because you couldn't remember the right English word or phrase? You may be an expert at your job, but if you don't know the correct English phrase, you might hesitate or say the wrong thing. Uncle Sam's American English has everything you need to succeed in English and to make a great impression in every professional situation. It's for anyone who desires to travel abroad, works in an English-speaking office, or deals with English-speaking colleagues anywhere in the world. Ready to jumpstart your career? Get started with Uncle Sam's American English today. Welcome back to another episode of Uncle Sam's Student Interviews. My name is Dallas. Today we have another amazing guest joining us, Thais Leão. Did I say the last name right?
Yes.
Leão, I like this because it's lion, right?
Yes, it's
Like
in Portuguese.
Thais Lion. What an amazing name. And this is your husband's name, right? Leão.
No, it's my father's name.
Your father's name. Okay. Because this is something that is different in Brazil and from the US. You take both names from both parents.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. I did convince my wife not to do that. No, that's a long story, but my wife does not have the name of her other family. She changed it to mine because we're married and this is what we do in the American culture. But it's such a great pleasure to have you on our podcast today, Thais. You are episode 5. So we've interviewed some of our other students talking about various things, technology, the flight industry, how English helped them in their childhood, how English helped them to increase in their language and other things like this. And so before we talk about how English has helped you, I want to give you the opportunity. Just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay. Well, I'm Thais. I am from Rio de Janeiro. And I've always liked to study English. So I already made a course when I was younger. I'm always needing to improve my English, my language. So I've never had some people to talk with and to practice my English. So when I came to my company now, where I am, I can make a course. I can have a opportunity to make an English course. So I accepted and I started to do. But before this, I always liked English at all. I've always watched movies and things like when we have English things to do. And it was always something that I liked. And now I have this opportunity to do this.
That's amazing. And can you tell our audience, where do you work?
So I work now on iFood. I am developer. So nowadays, I think if we don't have English in our second language, it's a little bit difficult to get improvements on our job. So yes, I am from iFood.
Mm-hmm. And a couple of things about iFoods and being a developer at iFoods, because, okay, I understand you're a developer, but what does that exactly mean for people who don't know what a developer does? Because I'm honestly asking for myself. So thank you for answering that.
No problem. So when you see the app, iFood, you think that it's just the app where we work, but there are huge things into iFood because we need to make some systems into the platform and some back offices, some places that the employees need to access to have informations about the customers, about the merchants. And so I don't work at the app iFood. I work at some internal system from iFood. And when you see the site, the web page, it's where I work. So I'm front-end developer, and there is the back-end developer. So I'm not the back-end, I'm front-end. And it's where you see, where you have your interaction with the screen. It's where I act.
Mm-hmm. And so was being a developer your first job? When did you decide that you wanted to be a developer?
So I've always liked to I was always the curious person in life. So I always liked to know how DVD worked, how technological things worked. So I was always the 24 hours support for my parents,
Wow.
and every situation until nowadays. And if they have some problem with a cell phone, with computer, they always call me to ask something because I always will help them. So I was always curious about this career, but I've never had at school. So I made a course that gave me this possibility and this opportunity to know what is development. Since then, I don't do anything else. I can't see me acting on something different than development.
Makes sense. Very cool. Very cool. Tell me a little bit about iFoods. And so I know that you told me that Uber Eats no longer operates in Brazil, right?
Yes.
And so tell me a little bit about what's the difference between iFoods, Uber Eats, these other Happy, I think it's another one. Like what sets iFoods apart as a better corporation?
So I think iFood is the first one here. And I think as the years were passing, the iFood company was buying some other companies that made it so much bigger than the others. So Uber Eats, I think the main position of Uber is to be Uber with car and with transport of people. So I think iFood is more focused on delivery, food delivery, and now is supermarket delivery. I think iFood made the right way. It's all right, this process of delivery food. I think it started to make other flows like supermarket, shopping, and groceries, pharmacies, and I think it's the best way because if you want to take all the things to do, I think you don't do nothing good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for explaining a little bit about that. Someone told me before about one of our students also. He said multitasking is kind of like a duck because a duck, if you think about it, they can't swim that good. They can't fly that good and they can't walk that good, but they can do all three. And so multitasking in my mind has always been an amazing thing. Yes, I can multitask. People can multitask. That's great. But when you look at it from that perspective, like Uber Eats, they focus on cars, not delivery. And it makes sense. It makes sense. So iFoods is a great company. How long have you been working for that company?
I entered here on November 2021. So I'm here 1 year and a half, a little bit.
Okay, very cool. One more question about this. What is your plan, like your 5-year plan? Where do you expect to be 5 years from now?
I don't know. I don't tend to change my job nowadays. I'm totally satisfied, but I don't know, 5 years is too many time.
It's a lot to imagine, right?
So I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to be with my child. Yes, I plan to have child. So I don't know how is going to be my career in this moment, because I think it's important to have a moment to care about my son or my daughter. So I don't know. I really don't know. I've never.
Yeah, it's an intimidating question, right? What are you going to do in 5 years? 5 years ago, I did not expect to be living in Brazil. So you never know what can happen,
Exactly.
You can move to a whole new country. You could do something completely different. You never know what you're going to do in 5 years. And so I don't really like this question because it's a trick anyway, like I'm going to be working in this company, working every day, very hard,
Yeah.
What's the right answer to that question? So great.
I hope my manager don't see this.
That's right. If your manager sees this video, if they speak English, you are going to be working in iFoods in working hard. That's what we're going to tell them. So tell me a little bit about you again. What are you passionate about? What do you do when you're not working for iFoods?
Well, I like to reading. I love reading. Nowadays, I'm trying to have a routine because I like to read. I like reading, but I don't get time to reading.
Hmm.
So I'm doing this year. It's a goal that I'm going to get, and I like to watch movies with my husband. I like to enjoy time with my husband. I don't know, go to some place that we don't know some places, different places. I like also to embroider. I
Wow.
like to embroider.
I was
Yeah.
not expecting that. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So when the pandemic started, I got some more time at home because we started to do home office. I wasn't
Hmm.
in iFood yet, but my work started to do home office. So I got so many time to be spending with me. And this is something that I always liked to embroider. So when I was a child, I went to for some place with my mother when she learned to how to embroider. So when I was a child, I learned with her because I like it too. After the years going on, and I got a little bit uh, higher adult, I didn't take again to make something. But when the pandemic came, I saw an opportunity to come back and learn a little bit more because the
Hmm.
YouTube we have so many videos. I started to embroidery frame.
Ah, frames. Okay, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it was something like a hobby. And since then, I made an Instagram page and I got to sell some
Wow,
embroidery
that's awesome.
frame.
It's great when your hobby can make you money. That's really
Oh,
cool.
of course, of
That's a
course.
good thing.
So I did some little, but I stopped it a little because I was trying to do anything on the same time, and it
Hmm.
wasn't a good thing for me. I was getting so much, I don't know, almost a burnout, but I stopped it a little bit things that wasn't priority for me. And now I'm trying to make some order in my routine and a day I will come back
Yeah,
embroidering
that's
again.
cool. Reading and embroidery, two things that are hard to
It's
make
not
time for,
common.
I think. No,
Yeah, it's true.
reading is common, but
Yeah,
embroidery not as common. I do agree.
yeah,
And we haven't talked with any of our students about working in the home office. And so today you work 100% remote.
yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Can you tell me a few of the benefits for you and a few of the negatives for you of working at the home office?
Yes. I think I have more positive than negatives. And I think positive are the time I use it to spend on bus, on transport at all. And the days that are raining and the world is falling over and I'm in my home, it's a little bit comfortable
Yeah.
because I know that I won't take the rain on me and I want to arrive at home more than later than I would arrive. So it's for me, this is the main benefit of working at home. The other one, the positive, is the time that I earn because of this. I've never lived near to my job because I'm
Mhm.
from Nova Iguaçu and usually I've worked at Rio de Janeiro, the center, the main city.
And for our audience to understand, how far is that?
At minimum, I think 1 hour by car, and by bus, I already spent 3 hours or 2 hours. I was used to sleep on the when I was going and when I was
Hmm.
returning. So
Is
it's
there a
a little.
train line like in Rio, like there is in São Paulo, or no?
So the train is not a good option. I've just took taken train when the weather is isn't wasn't good. because when it was raining, the bus would spend a lot of time, just most more time. So I used it to take train when the weather wasn't good. Usually, it's the same time to arrive, but you go into the train totally compressed.
Smushed.
Yeah. So it's not a good experience. So I tried to avoid at all as what I could to do for don't take train in any possibility.
And that takes us back to working at home is so much better. So
Oh, so
many
much.
benefits of working at home than needing to
Yes,
travel to work. So makes total sense. It's funny that you're talking
exactly.
about the train line and the packed train because I had my family visit Brazil and I was like, let's go downtown. Let's go on the train. And they're like, I don't think I'm
No,
ever
no.
coming back to Brazil because this is crazy. It's
Yes,
crazy.
totally crazy. It's not a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I think because of this, I have more time on my day during my
Mm-hmm.
day, and I can do something like exercise that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get to do. Things that I like to do, also receive my friends in my home. I can go to the church. It's something
Mm-hmm.
that I did when I didn't get to do when I was working on the office, and now I can go to the church on the during the week. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost impossible in another
Mm-hmm.
reality.
Yeah.
So I think these are the main benefits, and the negative, I think, is the distance of people, of my team people. I think I miss to have contact every day, to see each other every
Mm-hmm.
day. We could have more changes
Mm-hmm.
in individually. So I miss this on
I can
the
imagine
routine.
when your husband comes home, you're like, finally, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
alone,
Yes,
I can
exactly.
imagine that. Hmm.
And there are so many meetings because you need to talk with people, and you don't get to talk with them just
On the
calling them
side,
on the
yeah.
side. So you
Hmm.
have to schedule some time to talk with the person, and it's not the same thing as being personal
Hmm.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a big negative.
Let's start talking about your English as well. So, how has English helped you in your career at iFoods?
I think English helped me so much because in my area, the main things that I need to read, that I need to improve, they are all in English as documentations, some media of something speaking about some technology, some framework that I need to know, or even a meeting that we had that with a company that is from I don't remember. It's from another country that I don't remember now. But the meeting was totally in English, and I got to understand everybody talking what were doing. So I think it was the most. I don't know. I think I was the most happy, the happiest
Hmm.
day because I got to understand some the people on the meeting, and I don't know, it's totally good for me. We have also in iFood a chapter that we call there is a meeting to talk about a book. So we choose a book to study this book and talk about in Portuguese, of course, but the book
Hmm.
is in English. So it's totally important to know English because you can read with more fluence, and
Hmm.
I don't need to stop every time to search the words in the translator to see what that word means. And it's absolutely important to have in English in my area. I don't know if I would be where I am if I didn't have the English in my life, in my
Yeah,
language.
it sounds very important. Do you have some coworkers who do not speak English in on your team?
Yes, there are some
Yeah.
that they talk about it, and we also have one of the developers in our team, she is a teacher. She was an English teacher before become a developer. So she implemented on our routine of the team to separate 1 hour of the week, and we find ourselves in a meeting and we talk just in English. So we say
That's so
about
important.
anything.
Yeah.
Yes, we call this little coffee, our little coffee moment.
That's awesome.
And it's a moment that we stop everything we are doing and we start to speak in English, just in English and about anything.
It's one thing when you can study English. It's another thing when you can implement it in your job, with your coworkers, with your projects. That's
Yes,
amazing.
it's so amazing. And I like it so much, this moment of little coffee, because I see that there are some people that they don't speak English, but they're just hearing that we are talking. So they are not so confident to talk, but they are there just trying to understand, to hear us, and trying. And there are some people that we see that they try to speak and they have a little bit more difficult to talk, and we try to help them. And it's always, I think it's totally good for a team to do this.
Have you ever been in a difficult situation in English, and how did you solve this problem? Because I have tons of stories in Portuguese, but I want to hear your story of English.
I think I don't have so many opportunities to practice my English with people that don't speak Portuguese. So I think in this meeting that I said that I participated, the people were all American. I don't know, they spoke in English. There were people that weren't American. They were from I don't know, another country, and the English was second language for them. And it was a little bit difficult to understand, but I got it. But I wasn't the person who had to talk all the moment, but there were some times in the call that I needed to speak, and I was totally nervous because I thought that it would be totally wrong. I would say words that they wouldn't understand, but I got, and they got to understand, and they understood what I said, and it was all okay. But I don't have a funny situation to tell.
Well, it's better not to have a funny situation, you know. I will
Yes, I
share
don't.
mine with you. I'm not sure if I told you before, maybe I did, but whenever my son was born, so for our audience to know, from the first episode, you guys met my wife and you saw that we have a son who's 10 months old. When he was born in Brazil, my wife was recovering from the birth and all of those things. And she said, Dallas, it's your responsibility to go to the cartório, register our son
Oh my
as
God.
Brazilian. And I was like, that's awesome. I'm a father now. I can do it. I was so excited. So I
Alone.
went alone, and I don't speak much Portuguese. So I was like, I can handle it. I went to the cartório. I gave him all the documentation. His name is Elijah, for our audience to know, Elijah. And in Portuguese, the let's say Marcelo is a boy, Marcela is a girl. And so Elijah, they thought it was a girl. And so they registered him as a girl. And I got the paperwork. They're like, just make sure everything's good. I read it all. His date was right. His name was right. Feminino. Makes sense,
Yes.
right? Feminino. And I was
Feminino.
like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
perfect. He's a boy. Thank you. These are right. They printed off all the documents. I went home and I was like, babe, I got all the documentation. Check it out. And she's like, no, he's a girl. And I was like, you're playing with me. No,
My
it was
God,
serious.
did you register your son like a girl?
As a girl, as a girl.
Oh
Yep.
my God. And did you
So
get to fix it?
no, he's still a girl. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my
We
God.
did. We did. We went back. I went back with my mother-in-law and she helped me solve the problem.
Oh,
And
it's better.
but
Thanks God.
that is a crazy story of
Oh
not
my
speaking the
God.
language of the place that you're at.
Yes,
And
it's
so
important.
I hope to
Totally
never pass
important.
through a situation like this again, because I speak more Portuguese now than I did 10 months ago, but still not
Yeah.
fluently. And you speak way more English than I speak Portuguese, without a doubt, without a contest at all. And so I want to thank you for joining us today, sharing all of the things that you did. English is so important for our jobs, for our life, for our opportunities. If you could leave
Sure.
us with one overall encouragement of studying English, what if someone says, listening today, I'll never be able to speak English as good as Thais? What would be your advice for them?
Well, I think you have never to give up, because it's so important to learn English, because everybody on the world knows this language as an important language. And if you don't like English, I think you are going to need English in someday in your life. And for my own experience, I think it's totally important. Everywhere where we are, we need to know English, because it makes more. I think we get more. Our level goes up when we get English.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want
Thank
to
you.
end with an exciting, funny thing. So this is a surprise for you. I'm going to give
Oh my
you
God.
2 words in the chat, some of the most difficult words to pronounce in English.
Oh my
And
God,
I'm
I
going
don't
to
know.
allow you to try to do it the best that you can. But wait, there's more. At the end,
All right.
I'm going to have you give me a Portuguese word, and I'm going to try to say it. And we're just going to play with the languages. And the reason why we do this is because
Right.
through my time of studying Portuguese and through your time of studying English, we have to learn to just laugh at ourselves, to have fun, to enjoy the language. And there are
Yes.
times I've been speaking English for 25 years. I'm still learning. You are going to keep learning as well. So I'm going to send a few words in our chat. You can see that.
Oh my God.
And then I want you to try to pronounce it.
Oh, let me see. Antarctic.
Okay. Say it one more time.
Antarctic.
Yeah. This word has a silent letter.
Oh, Antarctic.
Antarctic.
So I don't say the C.
The first C. Yep. Antarctic. Antarctic.
Antarctic. Okay.
Yep. Have you ever been to the Antarctic before?
I've never.
Never.
I've never go out from South America.
Never
my
been out of
life.
South America. Okay. Have you ever seen snow before?
No, neither. I've
Never seen snow. Well, you're not missing anything. Snow is
Yeah.
very cold and it's terrible.
I imagine.
I have our second word here.
Wow. Explicit.
Perfect. Explicit.
Oh,
Explicit. Very good. Very
okay.
good. Now, please, Thais, give me a word in Portuguese and I'm going to do my best to say it.
Okay.
Okay, can you spell the word for our audience? So they
All
can.
right. It's EXPORTAR.
Okay, I think it's exportar. Exportar.
Okay.
Yeah?
It's in the way, American way to say Portuguese, but in Portuguese we say exportar.
Wow. We don't even
The
have
X-
those sounds in our language.
No, the X doesn't have this X sound. So we say
Jeez.
exportar. Yes.
Exportar.
Yes.
Exportar. It sounds like Russian or something.
And depends
Wow.
on the region. You are in Brazil
Mhm.
too. Because
So how would they pronounce this in São Paulo? Because I know you're
São
speaking
Paulo.
with an accent from Rio. How would they say it in São Paulo?
I think they would say exportar.
Exportar. Like an
Something
American.
like this. Yes, yes.
Exportar. That's funny.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you for giving me that word. And actually, I don't understand, what is this word? Export? Exportation?
Yes. Export. Yes.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
joining us
God.
on our episode here today. I really appreciate your time, and I will hopefully have you on another episode in the future. But for now, thank you.
Okay. I thank you too.
You just listened to another episode of Uncle Sam's Student Interviews. Uncle Sam's student interviews are recorded live in the studio with final editing before uploading. Subscribe today to the Uncle Sam's Student Interviews podcast, or visit Uncle Sam's International on Facebook to schedule a trial class with one of our professors. Find our book audios by searching Uncle Sam's American English on your favorite podcast app. See you on the next episode.